horrible.
Okay, we have Mr. Brother Griot, playwright, poet.
What is a griot?
Author.
What's a griot?
What's a griot?
Storyteller.
Is
That's
that
a
good
short.
enough?
That's a short version. That's not going to get it.
Okay,
Go a little deeper.
It's the African tradition of oral history and passing on values and morals through oral written stories.
Well, he's like a walking encyclopedia. A walking encyclopedia, Africana. Even though it's a French term, but Dijali is the African term. I think Dijali, I think that's one of those West African languages. Okay.
okay, so I ended at poet, author. Marvin X will speak on the development, importance, and future of black art in the African American community. So that's it, take it over.
Did you say the future? Did you say the past and the future? Or what did
For
you just
the
say?
future of black art in the African American community.
No, don't say that.
Okay, correct me then, sir. Correct me then.
Are you familiar with Afrofuturism? Huh? I can't hear you.
Yes.
What is Afrofuturism? She just said future. What is Afrofuturism? Do you know?
Octavia Butler.
She's considered the mother of Afrofuturism. Who is the father? Smarty Pie.
Sun Ra.
Huh?
Was it Sun Ra?
Oh, we got the gold star.
Sun Ra.
Son Rob. My buddy.
Go on, Tiffany.
My buddy. He worked with me in my theater here in San Francisco. We both taught together at UC Berkeley. Matter of fact, he told me I was going to be teaching. I had just been kicked out of Fresno State by Governor Ronald Reagan. Did you find that in your notes? You didn't find that? Yeah, you Google it. Marvin X and Ronald Reagan. The same time, the same year he kicked Angela Davis out of UCLA for being a black communist. 1969. He kicked me out of Fresno State for being a black Muslim who refused to go to Vietnam. Yeah, I'm that guy. He said, get Marvin X off campus by any means necessary. Quoting Malcolm X. Huh? Stole Malcolm X lines. Any means necessary. What did that mean? Kill that nigga if necessary. You think they weren't trying to kill me? Huh? Come on. You heard of COINTELPRO? You know about COINTELPRO, counterintelligence program of the American government. And it was to what? Stop the rise of a black messiah. Mainly talking about who? Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, or any black messiah, big or small, in a big town or a little town. I was at a little town, Fresno, in the valley of the shadow of death. It don't matter. They put a full-page story in the black newspaper saying that I was the self-appointed savior. Huh? Self-appointed savior. I just appointed myself to save. I didn't even, hey, I came to Fresno State on my way to federal court in San Francisco for draft evasion. On my way leaving New York, where I was working in the New Lafayette Theater in Harlem, the Black Studies Department at Fresno State invited me to lecture at Fresno State.
Are you getting the students?
So I didn't come there to invite myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
But guess what happened? There was a black police sergeant. His name was Jack Kelly. As a matter of fact, he's the founder of the Afro-American Museum in Fresno. At the time, Jack Kelly was a sergeant on the police force. And Jack Kelly told me, he said, Marvin, I just want you to know, when you came to Fresno State, you made things better for everybody, not just the students. He said, before you came, black police couldn't even patrol the white side of town. Huh? So the self-appointed savior did something. Yeah. So, back to Afrofuturism. If you looked at that movie, what, Black Panther? About Wakanda? Which I reviewed that movie. You can find it if you Google or go on my Blackbird Press website. Blackbird Press News, you have to say Blackbird. Have you been there, anybody? Anybody go there? Nobody went there. Well, over probably about 1.5 million people have dropped in on that site. Somebody check it out. I don't know who they are. Anyway, I reviewed the movie. But the main thing about Afrofuturism, now I'm familiar with Sun Ra. I haven't really read a lot of Octavia Butler, but I know who she is. And I know she dealt with things like that, right? Parables and things, and Afrofuturism. She's considered the mother. But Sun Ra, have any of you heard Sun Ra's music? You have? Anybody else? Nobody listens to Sun Ra's music? Well, have you ever seen his band?
That's your assignment.
Have you ever seen his band? Sun Ra has created a whole mythology with his art. And so he combined Egyptian mythology. Sun Ra, starting with his name, the sun god. He combined Egyptian mythology with what black people don't call science fiction. What white people call science fiction, black people call Afrofuturism. Okay? Now, if you want to go a little further on Afrofuturism, go to the Sun Ra Conference at the University of Chicago. Sun Ra Conference at the University of Chicago. Sun Ra Conference on Afrofuturism. And then there's a symposium. I'm on that symposium with about 3 young female scholars, very intelligent young black women. I was impressed because they were on it. You know, because I hadn't really heard the term Afrofuturism. All I know is I worked with Sun Ra, performed with Sun Ra. I read my poetry with his whole orchestra, from here to the East Coast, from here to Philly and New York and all that. Matter of fact, I put up the whole band when they came to San Francisco because I had a theater on O'Farrell between Fillmore and Webster. This was about 72. And Sun Ra's band was in my theater. Matter of fact, he did the musical. He wrote the musical for my play, Take Care of Business, which was my first play. Did y'all read that in my bio? My first play was performed right there in the drama department in the little theater around 1964. or 65. Right there, flowers for the trash man. It's in the Bible of the Black Arts Movement, which is called what? Black Fire. Edited by Leroy Jones, a.k.a. Amiri Baraka. And the co-editor was Larry Neal. Larry Neal. Now there's a, it's called the Black Studies Reader, I think, called SOS. SOS, the Black Studies Reader. Calling all about the Black Arts Movement, I'm sorry, Black Arts Movement. I got that, it's not Black Studies, this is the Black Arts, which kind of preceded Black Studies in the modern era, okay? But in here is my first play, Flowers for the Trash Man. You can read it.
So is that still in print?
Yeah, this just came out a few years ago. This is not Black Fire. This is this was edited by Sonia Sanchez and James Smithhurst, and I think the other brother John Bracey. John Bracey just passed away. He's one of our greatest historians from the University of Chicago. John Bracey, James Smithhurst, and Sonia Sanchez. You familiar with Sonia Sanchez? Huh? Did anybody see the Love Jones? You see that movie? Nobody saw Love Jones? Well, y'all need to watch Love Jones, because they're reading her poetry, Sonia Sanchez's poetry in the movie. It's about like a poetry set. You know how to. I know y'all been to poetry sets. Huh? Shit, I need to interview y'all. Anyway, Miss Smarty Pie over here, she said this Blackbird, this was my most famous children's story of the 60s. This came out around 1968. At that time, the mothers, black mothers, had no books to read to their children, black children's books, especially for radical parents that was trying to be conscious, you know? So, and one of the sisters that, besides Condi, actually, this sister said she was raised up on the Blackbird. I think you know her. Wanda Sabir. Wanda Sabir. She's a journalist, and she teaches English at College of Alameda. And she publishes in the New Bayview newspaper, right here in San Francisco. She said her parents read this to her when she was a child. Okay? So, since then, I made a play out of this Blackbird, because I was actually in Chicago. I had returned from Toronto, Canada in 1967. I had fled to Toronto to avoid the draft, refused to go to Vietnam, so I went to Toronto. I had a relative there by marriage, and so I went there and sought refuge, and after 6 months I had enough of Canada. I found out that Canada was as racist as hockey, and they play a lot of hockey in Canada, if you don't know. So I left Canada underground, and returned to Chicago, came to Chicago with my friend Ethna Berea, who was from Chicago, and she had been out here in the Black Arts Movement, which after the drama department produced my play in around 65, I think, because I dropped out of here in 66. So around 65, when I started my theater in the Fillmore called Black Arts West. Ethna was part of that theater. But anyway, so she had come to see me in Canada, then she left and went home to Chicago, and then I soon followed her because she sent me a letter telling me how the Black Arts Movement was booming in Chicago. And there was a poet named Don L. Lee, and she sent me his book, Don't Cry, Scream, I think it was, or Think Black, something. But it was a bestseller, and it was being promoted by Gwendolyn Brooks, one of the first black poet laureates, I think, for the U.S., if I'm correct. But anyway, Gwendolyn Brooks was the older sister. You look up Gwendolyn Brooks.
Yeah, when did she pass?
Oh,
was
she
around
passed
that time?
years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago. She was an old bitch.
Okay.
She was an adult. I mean, a grown
Right.
woman
She had to be, yeah.
in the 60s. But she identified with the young people. So they identified with her, and then she assisted them in the Black Arts Movement in Chicago. So I came there on the strength of we call her Haria now.
Maria.
Haria Assar, and I got connected with the Black Arts Movement in Chicago, which was like Gwendolyn Brooks, Hakeem Abdul-Buti, the Chicago Art Ensemble, Afro Arts Theater, Carolyn Rogers was a sister poet, and et cetera, et cetera. I'm thinking about the publisher. Hoyt Fuller was the publisher of the Negro Digest, or the Black World magazine.
So, Marvin,
Yes.
how did you get interested in all of this?
I was born in this.
How
I
so?
came out of my mother's womb in this. My mother and father had a black newspaper in Fresno during the 40s called the Fresno Voice. So they published a black newspaper. And so I recall sitting on my father's desk when I was 4 or 5. And I was watching him lay out the type for the newspaper. And in those days, you had to be able to spell backwards. You had to put the words down backwards on the press.
And little middle
Yes,
letters.
yes, yes. So I thought he was the smartest guy in the world. This Negro is spelling backwards. So I must say something else happened to me around this same time. I'm talking about when I was just out my mama's womb. I was 4 years old. And I think Connie asked me the other night, if it wasn't you, it was somebody else that asked me, I think it was Ramel, a friend, a graduate of Stanford State, who was a math teacher in Oakland, in Berkeley. And Ramel asked me, when I started telling him this story about what happened to me at 4 years old, he said, well, did you watch this on TV? Man, ain't no niggas had TV in 1948 that I know about. But we went to the drive-in theater. And in intermission, after the film, the movie, they would have the newsreel.
Right.
The newsreel. Yeah. And then the cartoons and all that. But the newsreel would come on. Sometimes we would hate that damn news. We didn't want to hear about that shit. But when I was 4 and we went to the drive-in and the newsreel came on, I saw all these people running across that bridge out of occupied Palestine, across the bridge into Jordan. These were the Palestinians fleeing their land at the birth of Israel. And so I've been aware of this shit since 1948 myself, when I was 4 years old. Ain't that a long? That's about 74 years, ain't it? Something like that. 48. Okay? So I've been aware of this. Even though my parents, as I say in my writings and in my poetry I've just written, my parents didn't really explain that, what was going on with the people, Palestinians fleeing their land. My parents were, as I said, they were conscious because they were members of the NAACP, right? They never used that term, NAACP, they say NAACP.
Right.
That's what Negroes say, NAACP. But they were members of that. That's what the civil rights, main civil rights organization. And so they were part of that. And I think that was their main concern. Okay? So I became conscious of that event and that struggle that's going on as we speak. Still has not been resolved. And wait a minute, and guess what? Let me ask you this. Who was the United Nations Undersecretary that helped establish the nation of Israel? Does anybody know that? Anybody know that? Guess what? He was a Negro.
Black man.
Oh, no, Negro. I would say nigger. Yeah. Elijah Muhammad was interviewed. I was in junior high and I heard Elijah Muhammad come on the radio and he was being interviewed by the press. And they asked him, well, Mr. Muhammad, what do you think about white people? He said, well, white people are, they said, you call white people devils. Why do you call them devils? He said, because they do evil. He said, do you do evil? And then they went the next question was, Mr. Muhammad, what do you think of Dr. Ralph Bunche? Dr. Ralph Bunche, you need to put his name down. He's the one that set up the nation of Israel for the United Nations. He was the undersecretary. So Mr. Muhammad replied, he said, some Negroes we don't need. And he said, Dr. Ralph Bunche is a Negro we don't need. And I just wrote something on the struggle in occupied Palestine. And I said, we now have another Negro we don't need. That Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Austin. A Negro we don't really need.
Who is that?
The Secretary of Defense. A black man, Negro, Mr. Austin. Yeah, he's a Negro we don't need. We don't need him. He's a colonizer. Along with the rest of colonizing Western nations that are helping the slaughter of people. On both sides, slaughter is slaughter, blood is blood, children are children. Don't call me a terrorist, and you're a terrorist too. Matter of fact, you're a bigger terrorist than I am. Because you've been terrorizing since 1948. Do the fact check. Before that, 100 years ago. So, I've written about some of this in my poetry, which I can share with you. But, so, as far as my art, if you don't get the point, my art is not for art's sake. I don't write to be cute. I don't write to make money. I'm not trying to be commercial. I don't care about your applause. I done had applause for over 50 years. I don't need applause. I just want to tell you the truth. Remember, Rocky said, what is art about? Beauty and truth. And further than that, Sonia Sanchez says, with all the plethora of books that are on the market today, all the black bookstores all over the country, all the books with the chick lit and the rap lit and the gutter lit and shit lit.
What is that?
Well, shit lit. There's a lot of that too. Just the shit ain't shit.
Oh.
Think Cat Williams, what Cat Williams say? It ain't about you being black or being white or being Jewish or being Muslim. You just ain't shit. You ain't shit. But anyway.
Don't be so hard on us.
Hey, wait a minute. No, I'm beyond hard. I'm called the sledgehammer. The sledgehammer. I take no prisoners. Nothing is left. Didn't David say that in the Bible? You the Bible lady. What did David do? Did he tell his man to go out there and kill everything? Huh? Kill all the animals, kill all the vegetables and fruits and everything so they won't rise up against me. Did David tell him that? Come on.
Yeah, at one point.
Well, okay, don't act like I'm making this shit up.
Okay, y'all have any questions? Anyone have
So
any
far, y'all look like you're terrorized. But I am the terrorizer, but I'm gonna terrorize you with truth. 'Cause like I was getting ready to say, Sonia said, she said, will your book free us? Will your book free us? You done wrote all this shit. Will it free us? Or will it kill us? It's just like music. Sunrise used to tell me and tell everybody, music can heal you, or music can kill you. So you look at the music. Sunrise used to say, he said most of this music is P&D music. What's P&D music? Pussy and dick music.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that's what he called it. Pussy and dick music. P&D. That's what he called it. Go on YouTube and listen to the lectures of Sun Ra at UC Berkeley. It's on audio because he didn't even know they was taping him. Let's show you how these devils are. They be taping you like they're taping us now. You don't even know they're taping you. I was telling somebody last night, we were talking about Martin Luther King. You know, the Martin Luther King papers are at Stanford, right? If you don't know, that's where they are. They're at Stanford, and the director of the Martin Luther King Project is named Claiborne Carson. Claiborne Carson. So they asked Claiborne Carson, Mr. Carson, was it difficult for you to do the research on Dr. Martin Luther King? He said, oh, no, it wasn't no problem at all. Well, how did you do your research, Mr. Carson? He said, all I did was look at listen to the FBI tapes on Martin Luther King. He said they had every word he ever said. Every word he ever said. So we're under surveillance, always have been, since slavery. You think they didn't have snitches in slavery? You think they're going to let the niggas run off the plantation? Ain't nobody going to know they're gone? No. In slavery, we couldn't even have no meeting like this unless it was one white boy present. Now, I didn't say you know snitch or nothing, but I'm just saying it didn't matter. A white person had to be present when Negroes wanted to have their church meeting. Am I right, Miss Bible lady? You had to have a white person there. And just for your information, the other day, you should go on YouTube and listen to the conversation with, I think his name is Finkelstein. Have you ever heard of him? Finkelstein and Chris Hedges. Look at that conversation with Finkelstein. He's a journalist. He's a Jewish journalist. I think might have went through the Holocaust or his people, but he's a radical journalist. But anyway, this conversation, they talk about, well, Hamas is, they're terrorists and they're brutal and they're just savages. And then, so in this conversation, they brought up, well, what did Nat Turner do? Huh? What did Nat Turner do in the slave rebellion? Was he kind and gentle? He tried to kill everything moving. Was he not supposed to get the boot of slavery off his neck and off his people's neck? What happened in the Haitian Revolution with Toussaint, Louverture, Dessalines, and all them people in Haiti? Were they just nice and cute? Eco-friendly? Huh? What was John Brown? Y'all know about who John Brown is? Raise your hand. You heard of John Brown? You ain't heard of John. You ain't heard of John Brown. John Brown tried to have a revolution. He tried to, raid Harper's Ferry
He was a...
to get some guns. He was a white man
Yeah, that's what I
that tried to free us. John Brown. Frederick Douglass was supposed to, he wanted Frederick to go with him, but Frederick Douglass chickened out. Huh? Weakening. Even though Frederick Douglass was bad, but he said some good things. One of the things I liked that he said was, the slave can never steal. He can only liberate. When you charge to steal, he said, how you going to steal from the man that stole you? And I made the mistake of telling this to a thief. I made his day. When I told him what Frederick Douglass said. He said, oh, Marvin, shit, now I can get my game on good. Now, I know I ain't stealing, I'm just liberating. But anyway, John Brown, they hung John Brown. I think they hung his sons too for trying to free us. So I say, John Brown is a good white man. Now, if I want to be with a white man, I want to be with a John Brown. Now, put me with a John Brown white man. Otherwise, I don't want you. You understand? So, where was I?
At what point?
Let me read some poetry. How about that? Something light.
Yeah.
Possibly. I'm not guaranteed. It's going to be light. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. This is the poem from, this is my manual, How to Recover from the Addiction to White Supremacy. How to recover. It's not a book to read. It's a manual to work. I based it on the 12 steps from AA recovery. You familiar with AA recovery? Alcoholics Anonymous recovery. They have 12 steps, so I based it on the 12 steps. As a matter of fact, I revised the 12 steps because I had to revise them because I don't believe in those 12 steps exactly the way they're written, especially for addiction to white supremacy. Because the 12 steps say you're going to, once an addict, always an addict, so therefore you got to go to meetings for the rest of your life and you ain't going to never be healed. Well, that's a lie. They say if you're addicted to what? If the wife beating, what, you going to beat your wife forever? I used to beat my wife. I don't beat wives any longer or girlfriends or none of that. I did. don't do that. You know, I used to smoke crack. I put the C in crack. Hello? I know all about crack. I slept in the tenderloin, in alleys and doorways. Ken was with me too. Yeah, that man right there, but look what he's doing. So you can come back. Yeah, I was on crack, sleeping in the alley on 6th Street, and then I got an invitation to speak at NYU, New York University, and so they, you know, picked me up in the limousine and brought me to my hotel room, and the next morning I get up and I walk outside, I walk around the corner, I'm at Wall Street. So I done went from the most wicked street in the world, 6th Street, in San Francisco, to the richest street in the world. You understand?
So how did you make it to that point? I mean, how did they find you? How were you discovered?
Well, I was still in contact. People, look, I'm bi-coastal. I go coast to coast. You know, people in Philly say a brother from Oakland said, Marvin, I knew more about you in Philly than I know about you in Oakland. So I'm East Coast, West Coast. So they knew I was on crack, like a whole bunch of us was on crack. Huey Newton, Eldridge Cleaver, a whole bunch of people went crazy. And we should have been smarter because we thought we were so hip and intelligent and conscious, and revolutionary. Well, how did you submit to crack? Well, you didn't chill out sometime. You didn't.
So that was COINTELPRO.
Sunrise said we never took R&R, rest and relaxation. All armies have R&R. All armies take a break. They let the soldiers take a break. But oftentimes in our struggle, we don't take a break. We just stay on the battlefield. Stay on the battlefield. Then you get your battery wears down. Then you want to beat your wife. Then you don't beat the white man, but you beat your wife. I wrote a book about that, and I went on KPFA radio talking about my book, and the white girl called in and said, well, why don't you beat your boss, asshole? Beat your boss. So I wrote a poem about that. Yeah, beat your boss, asshole. Beat your boss. But you want to beat your woman? She washing your little dirty drawers, huh? And washing your kids and feeding your kids and feeding you, and then you going to beat her ass because y'all drunk, high? Come on, man. So we needed a break. We needed to go on a vacation, didn't we? Take the kids too. I'll go without the kids. But we didn't take a break. So you wear down, and then like you said, then there's external forces as well as internal forces. I was telling Connie last night about, well, you know, the FBI was sending the tapes of Martin Luther King in the hotel room with these women. FBI sent the tapes to Coretta, his wife, to try to break up their shit. Same thing with Eldridge Cleaver and Kathleen Cleaver. He was the Black Panthers. They were Black Panthers. And the FBI was writing a letter to Kathleen saying, yeah, baby girl, guess where your man was last night, girl? Girl, he was with me, and we had a thing, and it was so good, girl. This is the FBI writing to Cleveland's wife about what he was doing with some other woman, but it was their letter. So all that shit can tear shit apart, and like I said, that's the external factors, and there's the internal factors, our own lack of discipline, you know, but we went through drugs during the revolution. You know, yeah, we smoked marijuana and dope and sex and all of that. But we wasn't clear about what we were doing and who we were really fucking with, like the U.S. government, with the CIA and the Air Force and the police department and the National Guard. How some niggas gonna overcome that with a shotgun and a pistol? Huh? We didn't understand that, but at least we did make an effort. And as far as you know, if some of you don't know, blacks haven't had a life since the 60s. Did you know that? You haven't done anything since the 60s, really. I mean, yes, you had 50 years of hip-hop, but was that about revolution? Really? Bitch hoeing motherfucker? We said bitch hoeing motherfucker too, right here. In my play, it's in there. But my play was about revolution, using language for revolution, to wake up people's consciousness. As a matter of fact, the same play that I did in the drama department, I took it over to Merritt College in Oakland. Bobby Seale, Black Panther co-founder, was the head of what we call the BSU here. Over there they call it the Soul Students Advisory Council. Yeah, that was the name of the BSU at Merritt College, the Soul Students Advisory Council. So Bobby invited me to do the play at Merritt.
What play now, Marvin? I'm sorry.
Flowers for the Trash Man. Okay, the first play that I wrote when I was a student here. So we do the play, and you know, it just, as I said, it would free people's minds with the language that bitch hole motherfucker in a revolutionary context. It can be conscious raising because you've been told, oh, them is bad words, and that's obscene, and don't never say them words, and don't call a bitch when a bitch is a bitch, and you can be a male bitch and a female bitch these days, if you haven't heard. But that language freed us to the point that Bobby Seale would get up and tell you, when Marvin X brought that play to Merritt College, that kicked off the revolution, the student revolution at Merritt College that led to the forming of the Black Panther Party. So that shows you the power of art, just we addressing that topic. That's the power of art, if you use it for a revolutionary cause. As a matter of fact, there's a great essay by Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong has a great essay called Talks on Art and Literature at Yunnan Forum. Yunnan Forum. Y-U-H-A-N, I think it's Y-U-N-A-N, something like that. Look up Mao Zedong's Talks on Art and Literature, where he tells you, as I said earlier, about what the Soviets say, will your book free us? Mao Zedong says all literature is propaganda of one class or another. It's either propaganda to free you or propaganda to oppress you. It's one or the other. So either your book is trying to free us or you're trying to kill us. With they'll say shit literature? Yeah, shit. There ain't what about shit. Nothing. And there's a lot of that in these books, in these bookstores. So I wrote this. We've had peer group meetings to recover from white supremacy. Mainly type 2, according to Dr. Nathan Hare. You familiar with Dr. Nathan Hare? Anybody? Who is he?
No, someone else, not you two. Anybody?
Well, Dr. Nathan Hare is considered the father of black studies and ethnic studies. And he was the first chairman of black studies here at San Francisco State. They had a whole strike partly over him and the fight to establish black studies. But Dr. Hare says he has a PhD in sociology, and he has a PhD in clinical psychology. So, in his clinical psychology, he wrote the foreword to my book. And he talks about white supremacy type 2. That's you. You see, with your white face, black with the white face. You know, and this whole concept, this concept basically goes back, what, about 50,000 years we've been doing this. Huh? You know that, don't you, right? Sure you do. We've been doing our stuff like this for 50,000 years.
Is that you?
Yeah, this is me. But I'm saying the concept,
I understand.
the ritual concept. This is the ritual face here. But Franz Fanon also used this, the same concept in his book, Black Skins, White Masks. Put that down in your notes. Black Skins, White Masks. Franz Fanon. F-R-A-N-T-Z. Fanon.
Franz Fanon. Anyone heard of Franz Fanon?
Wretched of the Earth. Wretched of the Earth. Wretched of the Earth. That's one of the key books we studied.
Yep.
So anyway, this is a manual to recover from the addiction to white supremacy, and we had peer group meetings with using this book, going through the 13 steps. We added another step. You see, because some people in AA, you recover and you just keep going to meetings forever. Well, once you recover, then what? You're just going to go to meetings? So we added the 13 steps, said, discover. Now that you've done recovered, discover what your real mission is. What is your real purpose? Because everybody didn't have a life after crack like me. You know, after I came off of crack, I went back to writing, to doing what I was doing before I so rudely interrupted myself. Okay? So I had a life. Some people didn't have no life. So they just keep going to recovery. No. Okay, so in the recovery meeting, they usually open with some type of poem or something. And so I put this poem in here just to start the meeting off. And this is the poem. It's called What If? What if? God is all. God is all. God is the people. God is the cow. God is the horse. God is the tree. God is the river. God is the fish. God is the child. God is the youth. God is the old people. God is the poor. God is the rich. God is the hungry. God is the sick. God is the dope fiend. God is the alcoholic. God is the sinner. No God but God. What if? What if? What if? There is no God but God. What if God is the captive you won't liberate? The child you won't love. The mama you hate. The daddy you hate. What if? What if there's no God but God? What if God is the fear you won't release? God is the pain you won't release. God is the love you won't release. God is the tears you won't cry. God is the lies you tell. God is the mountains you won't climb. God is the success you won't try. God is the beauty you don't see. God is time running out the hourglass. God is the body you refuse to heal. God is the mind you refuse to feed. What if? What if? What if? What if God is ready when you ain't ready? What if God is ready when you get ready? What if? What if? What if? What if there's no God but God? What if God is the forgiveness you won't give? What if God is the denial you drown in like a hog in slop? What if? What if? What if? What if God is the peace in your house, the love in your life, the joy on your face, the happiness in your heart, the thankfulness of your smile? What if? What if there's no God but God? What if my life and my death are all for God? Not for a woman, not for a man, not over a woman, not over a man. Life and death are all for God. What if? What if? What if? What if I grieve for nothing because God is everything? Whatever God wants, I want. Whatever God don't want, I don't want. Whatever God has, I have. Whatever God don't have, I don't want. What if? What if? What if there is no God but God? Okay? That's a starter. time we got left?
About 7 minutes. Let's have some questions. you
Yeah,
all.
we'll have a
Comments.
question. Let's have some questions.
Comments, anybody? Go ahead, Karen.
So in recent years, I've noticed there's been like a lot more Black media, like with movies and music, but I've especially noticed there's been like a lot more young adult books that are Black centric, especially like fantasy. I was wondering if there's like a reason for this, like just within the past few years, since about 2020 to 2021.
Yes. If there's a reason for it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've had many, many years now of conscious Black literature. Conscious Black literature, and in the 60s, you know, we mainly published our own books. They called chapbooks, poetry books like this. All of us in the 60s, Baraka, Sonia, Sanchez, Hakeem Makdabutu, everybody, June, Jordan, all of us, we published little chapbooks. And one reason was because poetry, you could, you know, was better than, cheaper than publishing a novel and a book of essays. So that's why poetry proliferated. But when the digital revolution comes, you know, when the digital revolution came, then you could publish easier and with less quantity, because you don't have to publish 10,000 copies. You can publish 100 copies, and you can just go back for more. You just keep the file. And so it's easier for a lot of people to write these days and to get their books out with self-publishing and these other presses and publishing companies that will, you know, get your book out. For the most part, it's exploitation as far as I'm concerned. Most of this publishing is no different than what they do to the entertainers, the singers with their albums, and the producers get all the money, and they send you a little $10 royalty check every quarter. Yeah, literally. And you're supposed to be happy. Man, I'm so happy because I'm on Amazon. Wait a minute, let me tell you. If you got a $100 book, let's say this is a $100 book. Now, for many years, if you put every book in the bookstore gets 40%. I don't know if you know that. Worldwide almost. Until recently, I was in a bookstore in Newark and doing a reading, and they wanted 50%. That's the bookstore, so that's wholesale. Okay, now put your book on Amazon, because everybody's so happy, man, I'm on Amazon, and that's the white man, and so I ain't gonna audio book from you, Marvin X, because I don't know your credit thing. You might steal my credit number and all that stuff, man. I don't trust you. So I'm going with Amazon. Okay, take your punk ass to Amazon, little bitch. Yeah, and then Amazon rob you. So let's say your book is $100. So off the top, Amazon taking 50%, and then he gonna want, what is it? Let's say 10% for taxes, right? So that's 60%. And then he got some other little fees in the bottom, in the type there, contract, that say if you want him to promote your book in the Amazon directory or whatever it is, then that's up 10% more, so that's what, 60, 40, 50, 60, and it goes on. So if you keep figuring the shit, you got mailing costs, you got to mail it out. Let's put another 10% on that. You know, you got to mail the book out and all that, and then you got handling fees. Add that in. So out of a $100 book, you might get $10. Did that make you happy? Because you're on Amazon, I'm on Amazon. Well, it don't make me happy. No, let me pimp myself. I'll pimp myself. I publish my books with my own black ass. And when I have to, I'll go to the dope man and get dope money. Because that's who has helped me at different times publish my books. I remember one time a dope man gave me $2,000 in $1 bills to publish my book. Well, could I have gone to the holy people? Huh? The Holy Ghost people? The holy Muslims, the holy Christians, the holy Rastas, the holy chickens, whatever it is, holy.
Anyone else have questions?
I'm just getting started.
Okay, wait.
Then it's over. Ain't nobody got nothing to say about nothing. Yes, sir.
I want to hear your reason for not fighting in Vietnam.
Not fighting in Vietnam. Did you hear what Muhammad Ali said? I said the same thing he said. The Viet Cong ever called me a nigger? Did the Viet Cong ever call you a nigger? No. So what I'm going over, like Muhammad Ali said, what I'm going over there fighting some little 90-pound motherfuckers in pajamas growing rice. And I'm going to go over there and kill them? For what? And then turn around, and who's the biggest trade partner with Vietnam today? Who is that? America. Now you kill all them people, thousands and thousands of people. You kill them, destroy, they put the spray,
Napalm.
all that on all the trees. And I had one of my friends, he said his job was to go and spray the trees.
Agent Orange.
Yes, spray the trees to poison the trees, to kill the people. And then you're going to turn around, and now they're your number one trading partner.
Yeah,
Something's wrong with this picture.
exactly.
Did you need to kill all them people? Because you said they was communists? Well, and before you got there, who was there? The French? Who was there before them? Was it the China or Japan? Come on, this thing goes on and on. Goes on and on. So no, I did not go. I left this country twice. I told you once I went to Toronto, Canada. The second time I ran up out of here to Mexico City. And then I ended up in Belize. And in Belize, I was teaching Black Power out in the village. 7 hours by boat through the jungle in a little village on an island. And then one night, a drunk man came by my door. I just married one of my students from Fresno State, and she was with me. She was pregnant with our first daughter. And so we in our little hut, and a drunk man came by, and he said, he was singing. He said, boy, they coming to get you in the morning. He said, you've been down here teaching that Black Power, and they coming to get you in the morning. And we said, I wish that he could get away from my door. Talking that shit, we just thought he was just a drunk, crazy nigga. So the next morning, I had to go into town on that boat, and I didn't know I was under arrest, because there was a man on the boat with a rifle. So I was already under arrest, I just didn't know this. So we ride all the way through the jungle. I get to my friend's house. They didn't lock their door, so I went in, they wasn't home. And then the next thing I know, here's come out, Marvin X, come out. So first I'm gonna have a Black Panther shootout, because they had a gun in the house. I thought, I'm gonna shoot it out with them. And I decided I'd just come on out. So I came on out, and then they took me to the Ministry of Home Affairs. The Minister of Home Affairs read my deportation order. He said, your presence is not beneficial to the British colony of Honduras. Therefore, you are to be deported at 4 p.m. for a flight to Miami, Florida. Wait a minute. They take me to the police station. They don't arrest me. They just, put me, I was under arrest, but they didn't put me in the cell. They put me in like in the lobby, just told me to sit down. And then all these police came around, these are black police in Belize. They surrounded me and had me in the middle of a circle. I didn't know what was getting ready to go on. But then they said, brother, teach us about black power. You want me to know what I told him? I said, okay, brothers, my brothers, I said, Marcus Garvey came here, because I read the history. Marcus Garvey came to Belize, British Honduras, in 1923 and told you to get that Queen of England off your wall. I say it's 1970 and you still got that bitch on your goddamn wall. Get that bitch on your wall.
It's time.
And they cracked up, so I end with that. So now, you got it from Marvin X. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Here, I'll give you a little poster to go with you. Take with you. Take a poster. Don't be scared. Take a little poster. Yeah. That's the poem I didn't have time to read because I was too busy running my mouth. Hold on, I ain't finished. Don't leave. I got enough. Yeah. Okay, here you go. Hold up, I got something else. I ain't through. Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. Well, here's something for Palestine. There's something for Palestine. Matter of fact, you got a draft copy. Yeah. That'd be worth money when the writing's on there.
What about a photo with Marvin?
So
Bring it back.
Yeah, y'all can get around me. Come on around. Come on around. And I have a magazine. You got about one magazine in you. Some of you. Here's another magazine of mine. Take that with you, because you might need that in your life. Yeah. Come on. Here you go.
Set your camera so I can use. Oh, I'll take one of mine. I'll take one of yours.
Because they have to do it.
Okay. Everybody get one of these? Oh, I'm sorry. See you back there.
Get over there. Get close. Get close.
Okay.
Don't be scared now.
There we go. This is a historic picture. Y'all know that.
No.
Well, that's right, number one.
Come on, get the picture. Let's go. You gotta go now. Keep it moving. You ain't scared, are you? Come on, Tiffany. What's wrong with you? You think the FBI gonna come see you? Yes.
I ain't taking no chances.
You got a kid?
Yeah.
Sure?
Big smiles, y'all.
All right. Black power. Oh, yeah. All right, y'all. Have a nice day. Hey, let me say one last thing. The people in Philly say read Marvin X like you go to a buffet. Don't try to read that shit all at one time. Take a little, let it digest, and then go back for more. Okay? Bye-bye. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Marvin.
So you experienced a wild, crazy ride. You
Lord.
say you never heard nothing like that in your life.
They'll remember that the rest of their life.
And I'll probably get my pink slip tomorrow.
Oh no, they ain't. Otherwise, we'll have some trouble. You want trouble? Come out here.